Sledson listeners, welcome back to the next episode of the Sledson podcast. As always, appreciate you guys being here, regardless of what platform you are on. Be sure to check out some of the links in the description. First link is to sledson.com if you want to cop some merch. The second link will take you to an application to apply to become part of the Sledson Team Rider Brotherhood. If you're new and didn't miss last week's episode, or you did miss last week's episode, that's what that episode is about, kind of a deep dive, peel back the layers on what the Brotherhood is all about. So if you haven't checked that one out, be sure to do so. And then the final link will take you to a bunch of discount codes from a bunch of our sponsors that help support the podcast and Sledson. So cash in on those discounts and save yourself some money. So this episode, for those of you that are listening and not watching, we've got finally, after I don't even know how many,
back.
We've got Shay back.
You're retired.
Baby, I'm back.
We've got Shay back for this episode, and Jeff is on this one as well. And then we have a new guest. I will say, to start off with, the first guest, correct me if I'm wrong, the first guest that has ever brought the team.
Yeah, not even
some
Smasher
presents?
brought us anything. Can you believe that?
Yeah, dude.
What a dweeb.
First guest to ever bring us some presents on the Sledson podcast. So those of you listening, some B-Goat, clean energy, 200 milligrams of caffeine from Bend.
From
Bend,
Bend,
Oregon?
yeah, like I said, had to hook you guys up.
They're good. I like them.
Yep. So our special guest for this episode is a fellow team rider, Corbin Shaw from Bend. He is driving through town, made a pit stop here, and is headed to take a rescue day with the Willowa Avalanche Center tomorrow. So appreciate you being, first of all, willing to come on the show. And second of all, to pause here on your trip and hang out with the boys for a minute and jump on, dude. Glad to have you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm stoked to be here and yeah, excited. Like I was telling you, been a listener for several years now, and you know, I probably wouldn't have believed you if you told me I was going to be on it, but you know, I'm stoked to be here now and share some of my story and kind of what I got going on. So,
what was your first exposure to the podcast? What was the first episode you listened to?
You know, I was telling Tyler, like the first Heydays series of episodes was like when I first got on.
It would have been season 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, just because of the guests that you get access to when you're at Heydays, it's pretty intriguing to talk to some of those people that, you know, you just see online or whatever. Mm-hmm. And yeah, hear those stories. So,
dude, remember filming this?
Yes, it was brutal. That
Dude,
first year.
No easy up or anything. We were just getting
Raw sunlight.
I was so sunburnt.
Yeah.
On Sunday, I literally had to wear a hoodie the entire time with my hood on because my neck was just fried.
Yeah, appreciate you guys going through that first.
It was brutal. Well, we didn't know it was our first time at Heydays. Him and I had no idea.
You guys got to go and it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're like, it's hot in Wisconsin. Like,
Yeah. I didn't think that was a thing.
I feel like every year we've been there, it's like it's sunny, then the wind blows, and then the rain comes in, and it pours, and then it gets sunny, and then it rains, and it's just a nightmare typically.
This is kind of embarrassing to say, but was it yesterday or last night or something? Corbin went back and watched episode 1 and episode 2.
Oh, nice.
He went all the way back.
I'm a little ways, hasn't it?
Dang, dude.
A little bit different. But I do always like to ask people that have kind of been a fan of the, you know, listen to the podcast for a while. Do you have a favorite episode that sticks out to you or comes to mind?
You know, the episodes with, you know, Dan Adams, Matt Entz, I mean, those stick out just like with like their level of experience and like what they do. Yeah, they just have so much knowledge. You know, you can listen to those guys for a while.
Yeah. They've got a wealth bank of knowledge to discuss for sure. Cool. Well, so I think let's roll kind of right into an introduction of you. Who is Corbin? Like, obviously I mentioned that you're from Bend, but give us a little bit of a backstory, like what you do for work, kind of on the personal side, and then start into the introduction of how you got introduced to snowmobiling.
Yeah. So Corbin Shaw, 24 years old, born and raised in Bend. For those that don't know Bend, it's in the middle of Oregon, on the edge of the high desert and Cascade Mountains. It's become a tourist town the last 20 years or so. We've got a big ski resort, Mount Bachelor, like 20 minutes out of town. And so, yeah, I can leave my house and be at the snow park at 6,000 feet in like half an hour. And
Must be nice.
That is pretty damn.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
6,000 feet to boot.
Real spoiled with that,
Right now we have to ride 5 hours or drive 5 hours.
Yeah. And, like this year is like probably the worst year ever. But yeah, I mean, typically Bachelor gets really good snow and there's a big, deep base of snow. Get consistent snow. It is a little more on the wet and heavy side, like people say.
Cascade concrete.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. It's a lot of fun there. All the outdoor recreation you could want. And for the last year, I've been working with my parents. They have a business doing custom home and landscape design. So we make plans for people to build, mainly for like resort communities. We have a lot of people coming here to retire or selling and moving here to Bend. Anyways, a lot of us sledders make a living off that. A lot of my buddies are in construction, like most of them. And people complain about it, but it's how we pay our bills and whatnot.
Yeah, they sound like pretty good contracts to me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's crazy. You've probably heard of how many like golf courses are there. I don't know.
Some nice golf courses too.
There's some
really
bougie
nice
stuff around there.
Yeah.
But the previous 5 years I spent in manufacturing. I went to college for that actually, and so learned welding and machining. I worked at a metal fab shop where I worked from just like a laborer to welder. Worked into CNC machining. Worked a 3-axis vertical mill. Moved into programming and more of a like engineering role. And then, decided to give the family business a try. I had like CAD skills already. And so just transferred those over to a different realm. And part of that being, wanting a little more flexible schedule to maybe chase storms. Also, I ride with my parents. And so when it snows, they happen to want to ride too.
We're not working today. That's what they say.
I'm feeling sick.
Even though my last job was pretty flexible, there's just some changes that I wanted to make. And that's kind of what I've been up to there.
Thank you.
I've also been doing some snowmobile guiding, local outfit called Central Oregon Adventures. My first year with them was actually my senior year of high school.
Dope.
So I took off for Christmas break and guided like 10 days over Christmas break there. And that outfit is kind of catered towards more like tourists and families and first timers. And so, people would show up and here I am, teenager. They're like, you're you're taking us out. I'm like, yeah, like, don't worry. I grew up riding these trails. You can trust me. And then, that's just been like a kind of a holiday and part-time job for me. Still doing it here and there. I like to go out and boondock and ride my own sled, so I don't put a whole lot of focus or, time into that. But I've learned a lot doing that. And it's just a fun crowd, and there's just some good advantages or benefits to being a part of that business.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
What's your first memory on a snowmobile?
My first sled was a Yamaha Snow Scoot.
Oh, nice.
The OG. And, we'd go out in like the springtime and just go like cross country. My parents figured that was safer than the trails. And kind of started following my parents around and dad's buddies and whatnot. Kind of a funny story with that is my parents had gotten the Snow Scoot before I had the training wheels off of my bike. And, I was super excited to ride the sled, but my parents were like, you can't ride the sled till you're off the training wheels. And they say it was like the next day I was like get these training wheels off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure this out. Like a
carrot for you.
Heck yeah.
And actually my parents worked for the same guiding outfit, like during the recession. And I have some memories of not having like a babysitter or whatever. And so I would like go like ride with them or like be on the sled with them. There's some times they said like I would like fall asleep or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
on the sled. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, those are some early memories there.
Yeah.
So you guys have been riding sleds as a family for a long time then?
Yeah. Yeah. My dad got into it like late 90s. His first sled was like a ultra triple mod, and he was like super proud of it. And like he looks back on it like, yeah, that thing was like a pile, but it was like super cool like at the time.
Oh, sure.
They all sound good though. Yeah. Those triples are wicked.
Yeah.
What are you on today? What are you riding today?
Right now, I'm on a 23 850 Chaos 155. My family's been quite loyal to Polaris. I had the snow scoop, but besides that, like we've had all Polarises, like from the Ultra and like the Edge chassis to the IQs, the Pros, kind of worked our way through all those. We actually, my childhood dog, we named Indy. After the Indy snowmobile.
Yeah.
We like Polaris.
Nice. Well, he's not here to share the story, but Jose actually bought your dad's sled.
Correct? Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. So my dad had snow checked a Boost the first year they came out. He had always wanted a turbo sled, but Mom was like, no way, like that thing's gonna blow up. Like, how aftermarket turbos were, and just bad reputation there. But anyways, they finally came out factory, and so he got one and had fun with it, and just decided he wanted to go back to NA. He actually he went to 146, and he
nice.
was stoked on that. It was actually a demo sled of my dealer's, and we rode it a few times, and he just loved it. Wheelie everywhere. And so he was selling his Boost, and he tells me, this guy Jose wants to buy my sled. I think he's from Hermiston or something. And I'm like, no way. Like I never met Jose, but I've been watching the podcast, so I'm like, I don't know him, but I know who that is. Like that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then so Jose came out and bought it, and then I told him, I was like, oh yeah, like I watched the podcast and whatnot, and he like FaceTime you guys. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, hey, here's Corbin, he's a listener. I was like, hey, what's up? So,
that's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah. Pretty funny, small world.
Yeah,
had a pretty special sticker on it too at the time.
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I thought it was.
Well, I was bummed that Jose's not here to reference that.
I thought it was super funny.
Funny story.
I wish you would have kept it on there.
Yeah,
It flew off on the ride back.
Oh, it did?
Like it came off, and it was like sitting in the bed of his pickup.
Dang.
China emblems.
He should have just kept it on there. But kind of cool. Put his wrap on.
Cut his wrap
sticker
around
it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You'd so get it and just slap it on there, and he'd never know.
Yeah,
for a little bit.
Yeah, my dad had seen that on somebody's side by side, and he's like, "Oh, I have to have that." And my mom's like, "Don't do that." And next thing you know, it comes in the mail. He's all, "Oh yeah."
That's hilarious.
That is pretty good. When you were guiding, what was the funniest thing you got to see, or like most off the wall outlandish thing?
I mean, sometimes having like double up people, and then you get like a big dump of snow, and like it's a powder day, and like we're just like breaking trail in the powder, and you like look behind you, and there's like double up just like falling
going everywhere.
Or like there's like this one hill in specific where I thought like, oh, I can take doubles up this up like in like an alpine terrain. I'm like, oh, like it's no big deal to go up this hill, and then like I'm going up, and I turn behind me, and like I have like 3 doubles, and they're all like upside down, and I'm like, oh, okay, here's a lesson for the day. Like,
yeah, that would be fun. You had your chance to mess with all those people too when you were younger. That's my first time out. I just got this job. I don't know. Never touched a snowmobile before in my life.
Yeah, or like a running joke with some of the other guys, just like you're about to take out a trip, you're going over stuff with customers, and they're like, hey, like make sure to bring them all back this time. Or like,
yeah.
Keep them on the trail this time or whatever, Yeah.
Still haven't found the last ones he took out. But
exactly.
That's right. That's why you buy the insurance.
I wanted to move into some Abby stuff. Let's see, you had something else, Jeff?
No. Yep.
So you're obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you're passing through to go take a rescue day tomorrow. Why are you doing that?
There's multiple reasons why I'm doing that. And, obviously I'm going out of my way to go do it. I'm driving 5 hours, staying the night in a hotel. But, for one, I backcountry snowmobile. And so there's times when I'm in certain areas or terrain where there is that avalanche risk. And, I've said this, like in the group, you guys have maybe seen it, but it's like, be an asset, to your group, and like, to me, that means like having training or skills or, just being prepared, just bringing something to the table for your group. And then also with that, like with the guiding, I also moved into some private clinics last year. And, just moving into that realm, I just was like, I just want to have sharper skills and like more knowledge to share. And so like one way to do that is, go get this, actual hands-on training. And then also like the last couple years, I've like taken my snowmobiling to social media. Like in the past, I had never like really posted about it or whatever. And with that, I kind of realized like, like that's an avenue I have interest in and like I want to pursue is like, like I think I could be a good educator, like an avalanche instructor. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot that goes into that. It's a long process, takes a lot of time, money. But one of the steps is having like those first 3 classes done, the level 1, the rescue, level 2. And then at that point you can start, diving into like the pro courses or, moving towards that direction. Mm-hmm. So yeah, right now I'm just getting like those like first steps done. And so yeah, last year I took my level 1, which I had actually had an opportunity to take it like 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was like 15, maybe 16. I took Airy 1, which was through that guiding outfit. The owner, she had like organized it for the guides. And so actually I took it with my mom and some of the other guides. But anyway, since it had been so long, I was like, just take the level 1 again. Mm-hmm. And then, so this year, taking the rescue, planning on taking the level 2. Mm-hmm. That's up in the air with snowpack. But anyways, those are kind of some of the reasons why I'm taking that.
Yeah, so the rescue is the prerequisite to taking the level 2. And 2 weeks from now, per recording time, you were supposed to take the level 2 with us. Because all the Sletson boys were going to take that level 2, and I don't think it's happening due to the snow. So I think it's,
if we want to learn about ice, maybe a sheet of ice.
We could definitely see the layer
ice and dirt
right on top that it's going to fail on. But that's about it.
Yeah. So and then per our schedule, we're just moving our slot to next season. So I don't know if, just because based off of the rest of our weekends and everything, like there's not another weekend until after Jackson that all 5 of our weekends align to be open with all the other events and then personal things that everybody's doing. So unfortunately we couldn't postpone it later this season. So we'll have to do it next year. So I don't know if he's going to cancel it entirely. I don't know how many other people signed up. But yeah, so I mean, hopefully you get to take it this year. If not, then come back and do it with us next season.
Yeah, it was cool. Got to meet Kelly last year, and she was one of the instructors for the course. And she noticed my level of enthusiasm and interest. And she was like, "Hey, like, do you know like the Sledson guys? Like, they're planning on taking level 2 next year. Like, you should come out for that." Maybe she wanted me to make sure like Kobe and Jeff stayed. Or Kobe and Jose stayed focused or something.
Good luck. Yeah, we can't even keep them in line.
No. So, that's an impossible task.
That's funny. Heck yeah. So this week on the team call, we had Mark Staples talk about Avi stuff. Who he was the director of the Utah Avalanche Center for like 10 years or something for quite a while. Now he's moved back to Montana and Bozeman, working with the Gallatin Avalanche Center, I believe is the title of it. Was there, I know you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier at my house, but was there anything that Mark discussed or shared that you extracted that like provided some insight or gave you a different perspective on some of the Avi stuff? Anything stand out from that call with him for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing that stood out was, when he mentioned, like the one thing you can't control is like yourself and like where you put yourself, what you expose yourself to.
Yeah.
Like he said, he's constantly measuring the slope angle, and if he feels that it's too steep, over say 30 degrees, depending on conditions and whatnot, he will just completely avoid it. Even if he's with a group and he has to slightly separate himself or something, he's like, okay, like if you guys want to put yourself at that risk, like go ahead. I'm going to be off here to the side. If something happens to you, I'll jump in and help, but I don't want to risk that myself. So yeah, that was a good takeaway. It's like, yeah, you're not necessarily going to control others, but you can always control where you put yourself.
Yeah. I think one good thing that he mentioned wasn't necessarily like something we hadn't thought about, but it was just something he touched on. And then you and I had a conversation about it was, increasing your knowledge and, taking these classes and just learning more about this. It happens to increase your confidence, right? Which then has a direct impact on how you're writing, right? Like you're more confident in where you're at, the situations you're in, because you have more knowledge to pull from to make decisions off of, right? So it strengthens your confidence level when you're actually out there.
Yeah.
So, do you want to touch on the topic? Cause you pitched in on it, the idea around sharing the knowledge, instead of just coming from a place of fear.
Yeah. I actually cause he kind of posed that, was like, hey, instead of making it so much fear-based, like, is there another way that we can make this like more educational? Which I thought was awesome. Good on him for that. I feel like he was more of like a professor, like, kind of putting it back on us as to what we would do. But one thing that I noticed, what would it have been like last Friday, based off of recording time, was being in the parking lot, where we were riding and actually seeing a lot of people doing the trailhead checks, as opposed to like, I don't think I've seen that many people do trailhead checks before, which was awesome to see. But I think a couple of the ideas, one that crossed my mind right at that time was, going up and actually videoing it, like recording just everybody that was doing it, because there was plenty of people doing it, and then sharing that on social media, and just kind of spreading the word that way, as opposed to being like, oh, you don't have an avalanche beacon, you will get in an avalanche, you will die, like that sort of aspect. I think that would be one pretty cool avenue to do. I think next time I'm there, if that stuff is all happening, I'll definitely be doing that. I think another avenue too is, sometimes I do this at work, but just play dumb, and go up and ask the question like, hey, I didn't get a chance to look at the avalanche forecast today. Even though, even if you already have, going up to some random person, hey, I haven't looked at the avalanche forecast today. Do you happen to know what it is or anything like that? Right. And then obviously the discussion is going to be tailored to whatever they answer. Like if they did, okay, cool. And then at above tree line, these aspects when slab or whatever. But yeah. And then if they're not, hey, if you don't, this is the app that I use, like might be worth getting. It's a super easy one. We got out of service. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but this is the one that I use. You can go through XYZ number of, avalanche centers, because I think there's actually quite a few on the Avi app now.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
But yeah, I think for me personally, especially when I'm riding with individuals that I know pretty well and they don't have one, that's kind of when I'll be more of the bully to them. But I think Mark brought up a really good point as far as, we need to do our due diligence in educating rather than the fear mongering.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
That's what I always look at things from a marketing perspective, believe it or not. But that's just like what a lot of the marketing is like you only see content around it when someone like dies basically, right?
Last weekend was a bad one.
And it's like
a lot.
If it were marketed, and I mean, we could obviously help with this. Like it's kind of our job, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like a mindset reframe of like, we're not doing this so we don't die, but we're doing this so we can go have more fun.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of turning it into like a team orientation. Like,
it allows us to have more fun.
Like we need to like rely on each other. We're the only ones that can save ourselves.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And he kind of touched on that too. Like there's a couple people or a group that he rides with where, they're like a surgical team where they're very good and understand exactly how things are operating. And, we don't even have to talk. We know this slope is a little bit dangerous. This person went across. Okay, now I'm going to go across. And you just know that person has your back.
It's like the Blue Angels.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Blue Angels. That is a very big peace of mind. And Tyler, to your point, it's just, you're more confident, right? Yeah. You can go do more things, cover more ground, have more fun.
Yeah. You can make the education fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Was there any takeaways for you, Jeff, that we didn't already mention from that call?
I mean, he was really confident in like, if you know the slope angle and what it is, like you're pretty safe to play on anything, below 30 degrees. So his level of confidence in just that, I think like gave me more confidence in the idea of that.
Yeah. Something I want to do is I need to measure the angles more.
Yeah. Same.
So I'm more familiar with it when I see it, and just getting that like muscle memory, I guess, and just like repetition of being able to judge something better,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think everybody needs to work on that. I mean, we've been in several situations where we're like, what do you think? You've mentioned it. What do you think the slope is? And everybody's kind of like, I don't know. And then we pull out the iPhone and lay it off. Oh my gosh, I had no idea that this was the.
This is only 20 degrees. What? We're on the bunny hill. Yeah, that was going to be my question. Are there ever times when you guys are out riding and I don't know, he might be side hilling through the trees or something like that, and you get to a spot and you're like, this is getting steeper and steeper. Like alarms are going off, red flags are raising. You guys ever been in that position? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yes. It probably wasn't even unsafe for me to play it.
It was probably 20 degrees for him.
Like, damn, this is getting steep.
Jeff comes across the radio, like, boys, I'm scared. I don't think we go any further.
I'm taking the chair back down. Yeah.
That's funny. Anything else you want to add on the importance of Abby stuff, or?
Just like to touch on like misconceptions, like we had talked about in that meeting. Just that, like you hear people say things about like, oh, I have an airbag, like I'm good, or people saying, oh, like I don't need a beacon or whatever. Just like emphasizing how like the avalanche airbag is just like a secondary thing, like just for like personal use. It's not a mandatory thing. And honestly, like as we see in a lot of situations, like you're lucky if you even get to deploy it, and then you're lucky if it actually is advantageous to your situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that the, probe, transceiver, shovel, or like those are the mandatory things, and the airbag is just supplementary. Like if you have it, like that's great for you.
Get the other items first.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I was reading the report from the kid that passed away he was from Utah, but he was riding in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I read it today on Facebook.
Yeah. And it was talking about how his bag didn't have time to deploy.
Like he didn't slide far enough
deployed,
to carry it up.
Yep. Yeah. He deployed it, but yeah, it wasn't a far enough slide to really do much of anything. And that in itself is kind of sobering too. Like it really doesn't take a whole heck of a lot. But yeah, to your point, the airbag is just like a trietary. Would that be the word? Use resource.
That's a fancy
That's
word.
like third. That's like third on the list.
Yeah, I figured it meant three.
Third
something.
call. Yep.
That's Amazon lingo.
That beacon and probe and shovel. That's where it's at.
Yes.
On your person, not on your sled.
Yeah, on the sled doesn't count. All right, I want to transition and give you, Corbin, a little bit of opportunity to put the three of us on game in regards to AXA. So let's kind of dive into that. First, I want you to explain like what it even is, and then we'll get into like your role with it. But so for the three of us, like a little bit of communication back and forth with you. I've looked into it a little bit per some of our conversations. Jeff, you might have looked into it a little bit last night as well. I think yesterday was the first time you found out about it as well.
Yeah.
Talking to Corbin. And so with that being said, there's probably quite a few of the listeners and stuff that have no concept of what that even is. So put us on game and tell us what AXA, the whole purpose of it, and then we'll get into your involvement with it.
Yeah. So there's an organization called AXA. It's an acronym. It is ACSA, and that is the American Council of Snowmobile Associations. And so it's the group that represents snowmobiling on a national level for the United States. So all the states that have snowmobiling, from the West Coast to the Midwest, the East Coast, this group is made up of volunteers that are spread across all the regions. And what they do is organize efforts to, promote snowmobiling, protect its image, and, secure funding, secure land access, just get people together that are, passionate about snowmobiling and organizing it. They're just a face for snowmobiling at a national level, because, snowmobiling is not promised, a lot of work was done in, the 60s, 70s, and all the way up until now, a lot of work is being put in, to allow us these riding areas and snow parks and grooming and, all the things that we like to have. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that's what AXA is.
So is this, are they like put in front of, like, are you a part of it?
Yeah. So I took on a position with them this year. They put out a young adult program for 21 to 30-year-olds.
Missed it. Missed it by that much.
We're old.
So they put out this program to get younger people involved because, as you probably know, when you look at these volunteer groups, it's an older demographic usually, which kind of makes sense. If retired people that have more time or just more experience, or they grew up being involved like that or whatnot. So yeah, the demographic is older, and a lot of people just don't even know about their state association, or even, and then of course the national one, obviously, such as AXA. So this young adult program is trying to get younger people involved and helping them, kind of make better use of their social media, spread awareness of what they are, why it's important, what they're doing. We're just trying to spread overall awareness. This is the first year of the program, and they had an application period that involved like an essay write-up and some questions. And so they selected me to represent the mountain region, and then nice. This young lady from Wisconsin to represent the trail region. And we've been meeting once a month with the coordinator who's a part of AXA, and just talking about how we can, spread the message and make an impact. And so, this first year we're just getting the ball rolling and kind of getting it set up. So it's cool to be involved with that because they're going to be selecting new people each year. And so, we're just kind of setting the groundwork for it.
Nice. So structuring it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys going to stay on as like advisors?
There's potential for us to stay on for this next year, considering we're just doing like the groundwork and just kind of building momentum now. And we've been meeting for 6 months. We may.
So this is like a year-round thing.
It's going to be a
Nice.
year-long position.
Say no part-time.
Yeah, well, that's what when you say that you're going to pick new people every year, like the first thing that goes in my head is like, well, there's probably a lot of like wheels spinning at the very beginning of when a new person comes in. That could be, kind of prevented if there was someone previously that would help out with that. But,
we'll likely be involved.
that's dope.
Going forward.
So the main initiative, like this like younger group is tackling is essentially getting the message out there through digital content creation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And just, helping them, get that digital footprint. And, most people, they've never been involved with their local club, or they've heard about it, or they had a bad experience with it. And so then they disassociate or whatever. And the hard part is every state's different. And this national group doesn't organize how each state works. Each state decides that. So, and so that's where a difficulty lies, is that, each state is different. And, Oregon is cool because we have a really good system, just as far as like funding. So Oregon gets funding for grooming through the gas tax and through ODOT. And there's a whole formula for how they get the funds, but one of the factors is the number of registered snowmobiles. So the more registered snowmobiles, the more money the Oregon State Snowmobile Association is going to get. And then the state, for Oregon, then they disperse those funds to all of our clubs. And I don't have the number on the top of my head, but I think we have like over 20 clubs in Oregon. And we all have our own groomers and trail systems. And then so that money gets diverted to pay for diesel and maintenance and upkeep and new machines. Like we're almost like constantly buying, new snowcats, Prenoths and Tuckers and they're spendy,
Oh yeah.
Oregon's kind of a good model. I can't really speak for the other states.
Sure.
Yeah.
Washington is not that way.
I have a question. How do like national decisions impact local riding, you think? Is there anything you could speak on around that?
So this AXA group, they get members together every year, and in April they have a group that goes out to DC and talks with legislators and Congress people to help or try to persuade them to make decisions to allow us more funding or more access. And they've been going on this trip, I don't know exactly how long, but I want to say maybe 2 decades. Like they've been doing it for quite a while. And so, when they go and talk to legislators, they're talking to, Congress people from various states, and as their votes, will make an impact in those different regions, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're going to Washington, aren't you? In the spring?
Yeah. And so part of this program is, they want us to attend these events. And so, each year they do a couple of roundtable, like summit events. There's a mountain region and a trail region event every year. And I'll be going to the mountain region this year, which is in West Yellowstone.
Nice.
And, it's a family-friendly event. There's going to be like a kids course, bonfires, trail rides, maybe some like backcountry skills kind of clinic deals. Heard some rumor that like Jay and Blaine are going to be there, and like Brett Rasmussen are going to stop by, and people like that. And we'll have meetings and discussions, and there's people from the Oregon State Snowmobile Association going, and then AXA is has some funds that they've raised to help myself and Lindsay, the trail ambassador, go to these events, including the DC fly-in is what they call that. And as well as ISC, which is the International Snowmobile Congress,
Nice.
which happens every year in various locations. This one is in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places.
Great steaks.
So yeah, I've never been to the Midwest. I'm planning on going to that event, and at that one, like Polaris and Skidoo, and different manufacturers and businesses in the industry are going there, and there's a lot to learn. And so yeah, we're actually going to prepare a presentation to do there, myself and Lindsay. So yeah, and so in the future, when new people join, they'll be invited to go to these events, and actually applications are open right now. So AXA has a website, and it's snowmobilers.org, and you can find out more information about the organization there.
Dude, after you go through and go to those events and stuff, you're gonna have to come back on here and update.
For sure.
What you've learned and whatnot. And as you're like going through this whole process, I mean, obviously you being a team rider, we stay in close contact, but as you're going through this whole process, like if there is an idea or a concept or something that you feel that can be utilized with or leveraged in any way with our platform, the Sledson, the podcast, or putting us in touch with people that you think need to come on here to talk about that more, in tandem with you coming back to discuss more things. If at any point in time there's a light bulb that goes off, like, hey, I think we should do something here. We're happy to facilitate.
That's awesome.
What we have in the platform that we have to help assist you and them in any manner. So just keep that in the back of your pocket.
Sweet.
And let me know if there's something that we can collectively come together to help push that.
That's great.
Just let me know.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll add that AXA does have a membership program, a small fee. It's an annual thing. And that money just goes to the organization to help their efforts of, they do have some paid, they have some employees, but it's majority volunteers from all across the country.
What led you to join this? Like what was the story behind that?
Facebook post.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Last spring I was on Facebook. I just happened to stumble across this post from AXA about this program, and the deadline was in like 3 or 4 days. I'm like, oh wow. And then I'm looking like, oh, I can travel to these places, and like they'll help fund it and be involved, and part of it is has a personal development side, just as far as like learning to be a leader. Like they're calling it, the program I'm in is called Future Leaders. They're calling us like the next gen national riders is what it's called.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I was just like, well, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like I want to go to those events, and like I want to be more involved. Like I love snowmobiling, and yeah, I'd like to give back. And I was like, hey, this deadline's coming up. I better get to filling out that application, and filled it out. And then they were like, yeah, like we loved your essay, and loved your answers, and like I said, it was the first year, and they had actually extended the application deadline just because of like low entries.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, the application period is open right now. I believe it's open until like mid-March.
Is there an adult application?
They could always
Volunteers.
use help, right?
Yeah.
And they have a program in works for I believe like 16 to 20-year-olds. That one also just got kickstarted last year. It's not necessarily active, there's just more complications when you're working with minors.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're literally a case study for like the initiative of your group now.
Yeah.
Because it was a Facebook post that got you there, right? And that's like the whole thing you guys are trying to do. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's dope. I like it.
Yeah.
We definitely
you'll have
need
to keep in touch.
We definitely need more of that in the industry because, to your point, it's a lot of older people in the clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and, sometimes they're a little set in their ways. So
I don't know
seeing some
how
fresh.
old you are, but like where do you think
24.
okay, where do you think like the younger riders can start to step up? Obviously, this is a good starting point, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, as an adult, or if you have a driver's license, you have the free will to, attend a meeting, right? Like a local club meeting. Or if you can't drive, you can talk your parents into going. So yeah, I mean, for one is just attending a meeting and seeing what is this about? What is there to do? There's always trail maintenance to be done. And, even if you're not a trail rider, I typically ride off trail most of my day, but I still like to have a groomed trail to leave the snow park from, and like just the other day at my local club meeting, we had this recent burn and it got pretty scorched and like all the trail markers are gone. And one of the old boys was talking about how we need to buy poles because now the trees are gone and we need to remark the trail. And he's like, and it costs this much money. And like next thing you know, like we had like over a dozen people like literally just pull out their wallets and like we just raised the money like in like 5 minutes and we weren't even trying to. And that was cool to see. Just like there is a need for something, and like the community members are like
Came together.
They're like, hey, here's $20, here's $100, here's whatever. Like, yeah.
I feel like being a part of that stuff too kind of gives you good insight as to where the money goes. Because I feel like what I've seen a lot is like, well, I'm not buying tabs because they shut down this snow park or that snow park, or I'm never on the trail, or never this or never that. But it's a lot more than just that, right? Like, it's kind of our duty to make sure that stuff's still happening. So,
yeah. And I would say just, like look into, how is your program locally funded? Like I said, Oregon has a cool system where like the state funds all the clubs, but I know it's not like that everywhere else. So yeah, I would just like encourage people to find out how is it funded, and, how can you help, or how can you, educate people on that. Just the other week we had this some Facebook drama locally. This writing.
That's always fun.
I love that.
This writing page that's it's just a group of buddies that post conditions and updates and whatnot. And they had just kind of shared some misleading information about how the funding was working, and they're saying, this grooming needs to be done. Like they should be up here grooming, talk to these guys, tell them it needs to be groomed. And then the people within the, club and whatnot just like reached out and was like, hey, like, there's actually like rules with the Forest Service limiting us. Like we can't just go groom, and, we have low snow and, XYZ. And then so we just like, spread the awareness and like education, just like, hey, like, this is how it is, and we're doing the best we can. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a big thing that is lacking, is just the awareness in and of itself. Cause there's a lot of people that just don't even know.
Yep.
Right. And that's been brought up on our team calls several times, especially within the club aspect, right? Like, the older demographic, and like a lot of the younger just don't even know anything about it. Right. And so like figuring out ways and talking about it right here, right now is a perfect example of how to go about spreading that awareness, but it's definitely something that needs more attention to, because there's going to come a time that like that older demographic is no longer around, right? And so like, what are we doing right now to get the younger involved in that type of stuff? And I mean, there's to be completely honest, there's probably multiple things that I myself sitting here talking about this right now should be doing and taking advantage of.
Kind of what I was thinking. Maybe we should get some club presidents on here.
I got a healthy exercise for us. Let's talk about the process of what it takes to start a club and educate people on that.
I wouldn't even know how to start a club.
Like what are, like, I'm sure it starts out as like a Facebook page or something, right? But like, is there any like anything else that has to be done aside from like, gathering a group of people, right, and calling it a club? Like,
Probably have to,
is there
some sort of like application through the state to be registered?
Well,
as a club?
That's what I'm wondering.
Like for those of us out west, it's a lot of it's working with, the Forest Service or maybe BLM. But yeah, we have to ask permission from the Forest Service to do certain things or to clear certain trails, or there's some trails where, they don't want to open in the summertime, so we can't necessarily maintain it until there's snow. There's lots of rules and like environmental things and just the bureaucracy of working at the Forest Service and the government. And but that stuff has to be done. And those connections, need to be maintained. When you have somebody at the Forest Service office who's on your side, like that's a good thing. Like we need to continue those
develop more relationships like that. Yeah.
Otherwise, because nobody wants to be shut out of their riding area. Nobody wants, anything to close down. We all want the sport to grow, and volunteering your time is maybe not like, it's not like the super sexy thing to do always, right? And not everybody's going to volunteer their time, and that's totally fine. Like not everybody can, but I'm sure more people, more people can, and if they had some awareness or just looked into it, they could probably find some route to help. And one thing I heard on a call was having like a bad bad encounter or something, like with a club, like you had a bad experience or something, and you had mentioned like, okay, well maybe you should be the change, and so I would just encourage to bring new ideas, and maybe you don't work with those people, maybe they don't see eye to eye with you, and that's okay, but I would just encourage trying, giving it a shot, sharing your ideas
respectfully.
My point in asking the question is like anyone can start a club, right? Like it's doable for anyone.
You just got to put the effort in.
It's really just about building a small community and communicating with your Forest Service and things like that.
Yeah, it sounds like Forest Service, definitely communicate with them. That would be my question is, do you have any insight on how to establish more warming shelters aside from working with the Forest Service? Because I'm sure that's something that has to get passed off by them.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have direct experience with that, but it seems like there's just like more and more like hurdles to jump through, like as time goes on. Like back in the day, it was like, oh hey, we built this shelter,
like cool,
like
all right,
let's put it on the map and name it or whatever. And like nowadays, it just take more effort, and that's just it's all effort and time, right? And it is hard to organize a group of adults to put in this organized effort. It's not easy. It's not easy. Everybody has.
But if we don't, like, it's gonna
hard-headed, man.
If we don't, it's gonna disappear.
It'll backfire.
Yeah, well,
just put the effort in up front.
So you need to buy
keep
tabs.
Enjoying.
You're not going to be riding.
And if you do it with your friends, it's a lot of fun. My local club hosts poker runs, and we do some drag races and oval races, and we all camp out at the snow park, and we have a really fun time together. The kids race, grandpa's racing or whoever, and so yeah, when you do that stuff with your friends, yeah, it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
It's a reason to go get out on the snow, even like when it's shitty like this. This is a great year to go do some maintenance type work, you know?
Yeah.
On trails and whatnot.
Not wrong.
Good point. Yep.
I know. That's why I said it.
That's why.
That's my line, dog.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it.
Anything else we want to touch on that? I think I want to finish off with a little bit of brotherhood stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I think we're, yeah.
How did you originally come across the concept of the Sledson Team Rider Brotherhood?
Well, you know, I first heard about it last year when you did it for the first season, and you know, just with other things that are going on, I just kind of watched it from the sidelines, you know, and I would see things shared about like meetings and you know, different guests, and you know, I'd been involved with a similar sort of group as far as like just like a collective like personal development you know, environment with like doing meetings and just having that place to talk with like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, come around this summer, you kind of release some updates, and, you know, just, you know, I could tell that, you know, you guys had learned from last year, and
yeah, we learned a lot. Learned a lot.
Yeah, you just like kind of, you know, revamped it, and we're making something more out of it. And yeah, that sparked my interest. And, you know, I looked at, well, I mean, listening to you guys talk about it, and just like hearing some of your background with personal development stuff. And yeah, that intrigues me. You know, I like to get better. You know, that's a constant thing of effort, right? You don't just attend one meeting or listen to one person talk and like change the way you act. Yeah. Like it's always a work in progress. But anyways, then yeah, looked at the application, and I liked the depth that it went into, and obviously because I completed it, and yeah, Tyler liked my responses and the, you know, the level of effort I put back into it, you know. But yeah, it's been fun. You know, it's turned into a pretty large group now. It's cool that you've been like continuing to allow people in. Like it wasn't just like a, you know, apply by now and then it's cut off or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's as you've shared, you know, it's, yes, we all love sledding, and of course that is a big part of it, but you know, way more of it's just about, you know, being better in life in general, whether it's, you know, business, gym, just, you know, just being better people, better men. And it's cool that we all really you know, talk about fitness a lot, and I think that motivates a lot of people because they see, oh, hey, these guys are always posting about being in the gym, and here I am.
Our new Slack channel thing, I think, is getting more people to be a little more active.
More into it.
The daily check-in. Nobody wants to put that red X on there, you know? Yeah.
No,
hopefully it motivates them to not.
Yeah.
But I mean, my favorite part is, you know, the weekly calls and the rotating topics and the guests. I think that's like super valuable. From Chris Brandt, talking with him, and Trevor Erickson, who dropped a ton of value on all of us.
Yeah, that was a good call.
And I mean, yeah, all the calls have been really good, all the guests. And then even if it's just us and it's just like Q&A or BSing, like everybody brings something to the table, and yeah, we all learn from each other.
Heck yeah.
Why are you so like proactive in joining all these different like communities and things like that? Is that like something your parents did?
I feel like you're pretty business oriented for a 24-year-old.
Yeah, when I was 24, I'm like, I wouldn't be doing all this.
Yeah, you have a lot of positive attributes to, you know, everything that you've got going on, and most people your age are not.
I wasn't
doing that. Where does that come from?
Well, yeah, I guess there's definitely some influence from my parents. They were in search and rescue for 8 years and led both of my parents, mom and dad, and they led and kind of revamped their snowmobile team there. My dad went on his first mission just as a civilian because the search and rescue crew, like, they needed help. Like, there's this father and son that were missing for like 3 days out in like a nasty blizzard, and so they were calling for like the community help. And anyways, that led to him joining and my mom. And when they first got on the snowmobile team, they had just like Scandics, like utility sleds, right? And they would like go out on the trail to like the closest point they thought, and then they like hop on snowshoes and start going off trail. And my dad's like,
Not
no,
visible.
like,
Yeah.
what are you guys doing? Like, no, we're gonna ride out there. They're like, no, like, we'll get these things stuck. Like, we can't do that. And then so they ended up like getting them into like mountain sleds, and then like having like a training program to get people up to like a certain riding skill so they could go off trail. And so they weren't boot packing, to no man's land or whatever.
Yeah.
And my mom was on the board for the local avalanche center years ago. Since then, they've been like, yeah, we put in our volunteer time. Like, they're like, we're kind of done now. Like, and so yeah, that has some influence. And then, yeah, it's just a good way to meet people, get more involved. Yeah, you learn a lot, whether it's the experiences you have, and the people you meet, and yeah, I guess I like to stay busy.
Well, and I think a lot of everything that you're doing is closely aligned to your goals of what it is that you personally are trying to achieve within the sledding industry too, right? Like, it goes hand in hand with what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it's like, I love snowmobiling, and, how can I make it more of like a, not like mandatory part of my life, but like, how can I make it like, how can I ride more? Like, I want to ride more, right?
Yeah.
Just be more involved on every level.
Yeah. And you can do that without volunteering your time, but it's one way to do it. And yeah, I like being on the snow, and I want to learn and go ride different places. And so, yeah.
Well, props to you, dude. I mean, everything that you've kind of got your fingers in is pretty admirable, to be involved with so much that's, kind of outside the norm of your typical sledder, so it's pretty dope what you've got going on, dude.
I appreciate that.
So,
Yeah. Hats off to you.
Is it time for the closing question?
yeah. Which one do we want to do? Would you rather, or
No, that's the closing question for him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant for him to ask.
Yeah, no. What does being a good representative of the sport actually look like to you? Just kind of define that.
I would say just, just being a good steward of the sport, like, don't make snowmobilers look like jackasses, like, people are watching, and, just treat your snow parks with respect, and treat the non-motorized users with respect. You don't have to be best friends with them, but, be nice to them, show them that snowmobilers are nice people, like, and, do things that, are going to have a positive impact. Yeah. Don't be a jackwagon.
Don't
Yeah.
put mountain cans on your sled.
Yeah. And go ripping by some cross country
That too.
skiers.
Just be a good person, basically.
Yeah.
Be a decent human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make people, stop and help people on the trail, renters or non-motorist people. Like, if somebody needs help, offer up your help.
Yeah.
Don't pretend like people aren't there or whatever.
Yeah.
Just,
Which I think the majority of the industry falls in line
Yeah,
with that. I mean,
definitely.
that's something that we can all reflect on. That's actually really cool about the sledding industry is 9 times out of 10, that's typically the case.
yes.
That 1% of the time,
Yeah, that's what puts the bad taste.
Yeah.
That's what everyone
but it's pretty
remembers.
rare, big picture wise, it's pretty rare, but yeah.
Yeah. Most snowmobilers are great. We're all great, but, just, having like the bystanders see that too is good.
Mhm. Absolutely. Perception.
Heck yeah. Cool. Do we want to have him end with a would you rather or a question?
Do you want him to ask the would you rather, or do you want us to ask the would you rather to him?
Do you have one?
No.
Okay.
No.
I haven't really thought of
Put
it.
you on the spot though.
Do you have a question? A question for the viewers?
Not to repeat myself, but like, just I would encourage you to ask that question to your club or your state association: is, how does my local program work? Just asking, how does this system work, or how can I help? That doesn't mean taking a position or committing to serving an X number of time of your hours or whatever, but we all have some way we can give back. So yeah, I would just encourage you to find a way that you can make a difference.
I think that's
Ask
good.
what you can do to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I like it.
Awesome. Well, good. Corbin,
Awesome.
thank you again for stopping by in town here and jumping on this episode. You will return at some time in the future. So yeah, thank you again for being here. Shay, thank you for changing up your schedule and
Yeah, absolutely.
being here as
Thanks
well.
for having me.
Jeff, you have to be here, so I don't need to say thank you to you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks
dude.
for the goat.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
the presence, man.
I've been trying not to
appreciate
drink
that.
another one, but there's no way. I'd be in some serious trouble.
Yeah, well, I think you and I are primed to go hit the gym right now, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Sledson listeners, thank you guys for being here. As always, we appreciate you, regardless of what platform you're on, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.